Previously on Building the Dream.
My house has no grey water system. And the way you do that is by using a bacterial filter. So this is my ClearFox filter. Now this is not a septic tank. There's basically an organisation in France that are in charge of inspecting before you put either a ClearFox filter like this in, or this is the first one in Limousin, by the way. But they inspect before you put a filter like this in, or they inspect before you put a septic tank in. And they're the ones that told us the soakaway had to be 15 metres, and it also had to be 2 metres deep. Hello, I'm Oliver Pickard and welcome to beautiful Limousin, France. It's been a while since we've done a barn video and I've really missed making these videos. But I've also really missed progressing because we're now in the midst of our second lockdown, and unfortunately not all of the progress on the barn has been good news. Well, it's good news in the end, but it's taken a long time getting here. Let me explain. So last time I was standing about there when I was filming a barn video, and I was digging the trench, telling you all about how we'd had the plans from Viola and we had to dig this really deep 15-metre long trench and da-da-da-da-da. So, in the end, because of all the rocks, I actually had to move the clear foss over 2 metres that way in order to get the right length for the trench, in order to get that 15 metres. We also had to cut through a big stone with an angle grinder, which took days. And we laid all the pipes down and everything was as the plans were given to us. And then the inspector came, and it was a really nice young lad. And he looked around and he's shaking his head and he went, my co-workers are terrible. This won't work. This is a terrible plan. It won't work. I can't give you your permission. I can't give you your last building paperwork that you need in order to plumb your house, because the way that you've installed the foss, the way you've installed the ClearFox won't work. And we're like there with our head in our hands thinking, but we've done all this work, like weeks and weeks and weeks of digging. But alas, it was not to be. And this young lad said, look, I'm not being funny. He said, I can't give you the plans for it the way it is. My co-workers screwed up. It's not right what they've told you to do. They haven't give you the right information. They haven't give you the right measurements. And even if I did give you the paperwork for what they said, it wouldn't work. And it would basically well up underground all this water. So it's no good. So then he wrote us a list of what we actually needed. He wrote us this big plan out and he sent us the official documents, which the first people didn't do, of what we actually require for our foss and what the French government actually require. Thank God for this young lad. But what we ended up doing was filling half the trench in and then re-digging it all. So I've actually dug this clear foss twice now. And let me walk you through how it all works. Yesterday we got the lad here, we got the inspector here, and it's all been passed. We officially can plumb the houses now. We officially have working drainage, which is the really good news, by the way. That's the silver lining to the cloud. Yes, it was a pain. Yes, it was hot. Yes, we hand dug it twice and all of that jazz. But the really good news is this now is the official thing, and I've been waiting to make this video until we had the inspection so I can say I don't need to dig it a third time. So obviously the biggest change is this. This is basically like a giant water butt. It's not very big diameter, but it's 1.8 meters long, 6 foot something. And basically what happens is the water comes from the house, it drains into the first clear fox, and then into the second one, and then at the bottom it goes into this, and this has a pump in it, and it pumps the water up that's now clean and usable for the plants, and out into the garden to drain away. The reason why we've had to add this is that when we had our inspection, the young lad said that we'd hit gritstone, which we kind of, but because this is a glacial valley, it has a gritstone base, and we'd hit the gritstone, and he said that if we didn't have the pump and if we drained the water out at the 2 meter depth, that we would basically create like an underground pond, and all this water would well up and well up and well up, and eventually it would bust out somewhere, which isn't good. You know, it could bust out onto the local road, it could bust out anywhere, and it could actually create problems for the houses and all sorts. So this setup would actually work without the pump, but it's a much better proven method with the pump. So we went for that, and it also cost an absolute fortune. From what we'd originally planned, this was another third as much money, which, you know, these things happen, and you've just got to take the rough with the smooth sometimes. It's all about rolling with the punches when you're doing something that you've never done before. This is the first one of the first clear foxes in France. This is the first one in our area of France, most definitely. And like I say, you've just got to take the rough with the smooth. This is the problem with doing stuff that's not a proven method, that hasn't been done a million times, you know what I mean? Anytime that you go off the the well-trodden path, as it were, and you go into the experimental side of self-sufficiency or being eco-friendly, you are going to run into these problems, and you're going to run into stuff where you've got to do stuff twice, or that, you know, you do it and then it doesn't work or whatever. And this is the first one of those times that we've encountered while doing this house. This is the first thing that we've done that we're not like experts at, but it's in now, and that's what matters. The red pipe is for the electricity, because obviously it's an electric pump that runs off our solar panels, and that runs all the way up. The reason why it's red is because that's the law in France. All electricity has to be in a red pipe, and it also has to have like a red netting on top of it, so that if someone ever comes along with a digger in 100 years and the digger picks up the red netting, they know that there's electrical wiring under there and whatever. But yeah, it now has it has a vent here, and this is also a vent pipe. This vent pipe runs all the way up to the house, and this is a vent for between the two clear foxes, because obviously you've got bacterial action happening in the eco filters. By the way, if you're new to the channel, these two filters are grey water filters, so all the used water from my house, I should have maybe explained that at the beginning, but I'm assuming that most of you have watched most of these videos, because many of you have been asking for them for quite a while. But these two filters take the water from my bath, from my showers, which comes from my well at the top of my land, and then it's used for a bath, or it's used for a shower, it's used for washing dishes or washing clothes, and then it comes down and it goes through these two filters, which turn it into fresh water again, using, like I said, microbial action. And it drains from the first one into the second one, then into here, gets pumped up, and then into the land. It's simple in theory, but getting here has been quite the journey. And I'm just relieved, to be honest. We've had to add these junction tubs, boxes, whatever you call them, manholes, and this pipe is special drainage pipe, which has big slits in it. You can't really see from the camera, but on the bottom it has big slits in it like this that run all the way along, which has to be special French government certified piping. And there is now, there was originally going to be 2 15-metre runs. Now there is 3 7-metre runs separated by 150 centimetres, because that's what this lad said they had to be, and it's on a stone base, a gravel base, that's a depth of 30 centimetres. This is the French government certified piping, that's the drainage piping. As you can see, it's got the big slits in it, and obviously that sits down like that, and it's designed so that it doesn't fill up with stuff from the land, and it don't fill up with worms and soil and stuff, but it does allow water to drain out of it. So the massive importance of getting that filter in is that now we can officially start plumbing the house, and that is fantastic news for the Aga, because you can't run an Aga, as you can see from these big brass fittings on the side, you can't run an Aga without water in it. This thing produces so much heat that it would actually melt itself if you ran it without water in it. So I can finally bring water into the house, fit a boiler, and then plumb it up to the Aga. And that means I can finally finish drying these planks, because when I was a young child, a toddler we're talking now, 2, 3 years old, my parents fit an Aga like this into my childhood home, and it dried out all of the floorboards. And there were such big gaps in between the floorboards that my dad had to pull up all of the floorboards and move them all closer together again. And he got so much space just in the width of a hallway that he had to add a whole other plank as another floorboard. And as you can imagine, over the length of this span of my bedroom, that could be a gap as much as this big. So I really need to get the last bit of moisture out of these planks before it comes time to fit them and to actually tongue and groove them and make a floor. So I need to be able to hook the water up to here, the boiler, and of course my chimney. So I've been waiting to get that piece of paper, that piece of permission, that last bit of paperwork before I could finally plumb everything in and really make progress here. So check this out as well, the beam out here. Look how beautiful this is weathering now with the pointing that Miriam's done. It's absolutely stunning. It can be really disheartening trying to progress and trying to forge forward with something when you have, you know, the current health crisis happening, and then on top of that somebody turns up and does an inspection and tells you that it's no good and tells you that you've got to redo it all. These things can be massively stressful, and I in all honesty, when we had the first inspection and the guy told us no, I was heartbroken, and it took me time to get over it. I was really upset for about a week. And so I concentrated on the garage. I've started another series on this YouTube channel called Building the Dream Workshop. And we've bought a lathe, and we leveled the floor in the workshop and painted it, and it's really nice in there now. And I'm using that to build my new little project car, Pandora. But I was really disheartened at first, and I was really brokenhearted. But then I realised it's actually a good thing. It's a really good thing that I'm not going to have to redo this in another 6 months, because even if it was passed, if it's not right, then you're going to have problems in the end, and it's no good half doing something. So in a way, that's been a good thing. And this whole current health crisis has been difficult. It's been difficult to get, for example, the big long 1.80 meter water, but with the pump in it. I don't know what the right word is for that, but that thing was on back order, and that took about a month to arrive. I really want to get some stone so I can redo the front window of my bedroom window up there, and I can do the kitchen window and the back door. And getting stone for that has been really difficult because of the current health crisis. And it can be really frustrating when you're trying to forge forward and you're trying to get all these things done, and you just can't. You know, working harder isn't going to solve the problem. But like I said about having to have this re-inspected, in the end, it's all good because I've been working way too hard for far too long. I've been working massively long hours, 7 days a week, and you forget to live. You forget to be a person, and you forget to take time and appreciate what you're doing it all for. Why are you doing it all? Why are you working so hard? You know, the other day I thought to myself, if you know, second lockdown started because a bunch of people weren't being as careful as they should have been, and I've actually been on lockdown here because I have people that are at risk in my immediate vicinity. So I was in second lockdown way before everyone else. But second lockdown happened, and I kind of looked around officially, and I looked around and I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to be in second lockdown, then at least I'm in paradise. At least I'm in, you know, one of the most beautiful places in the world. And yeah, I can't go for a drive, and yeah, I can't ride my bike, but at least I have a beautiful garden, and I've got, you know, a beautiful house that's kind of half built, and I have a beautiful project car that's kind of a quarter built, and I've got my lovely little 2CV, and life's not so bad, you know. And I know that for a lot of us, it's a very testing time at the minute, and a lot of people are watching YouTube to escape from all that. And so I don't want to get everyone down, I don't want to make everyone miserable, but I just want to remind everybody that in times like this, it's really important to look around and count your blessings, because it's really easy to get down about the fact that these things happen and that there are bad things, but you've really got to look for the good things, because if you don't, you'll never get out of it, you know. I posted a picture of myself in the hole when I was digging the hole, and it was on a day when I felt really frustrated. And I t-shirt off, it was 40-something Celsius, and I was swinging a pickaxe all day in full sun. And I posted a picture, and I put that picture up, and I said, there are times when you are stuck in a hole and the only way out is to dig your way out. And that's true. But there's also times when you can't do anything. And no matter how hard you work, you can't dig your way out. And the times like that, you need to stop, look around, and either change tack or just appreciate that now's the moment just to take a moment. And that sometimes it's important to spend time with your family and understand why we're here in the first place. Because it's not progressing. Because after all, building all of this, I can't take it with me. And actually it's the memories of building it, and it's the time I spend with my family, and it's the time I spend doing what I love, like making videos and talking to all of you, because you send me such lovely messages. You know, I'm incredibly lucky in that respect, that on days when I'm working on the house and I feel frustrated, I can always look at my comment section, and I've always got a lovely message from one of you who watches this video and appreciates it so much, and I want to let you know that I appreciate it. So thank you for all your lovely comments, and make sure that if you're new to this channel and you really liked this video, make sure you subscribe and make sure you click like, because it really helps me to make these videos. It helps me to keep forging forward, and then I can make videos to keep you inspired and keep you forging forward, and we can all work together and make tomorrow better than yesterday, hopefully. So thank you all for watching. Please be awesome to each other. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.